everybody, welcome to No Life Till Metal. My name is Scott Waters, and today we're going to do my top 6 non-hard and heavy albums from 1980. And this is in response to Kat's contest. Kat, who had 80 subscribers and now I'm sure has plenty more, asked us that we would show, some of our favorite album songs, whatever, from 1980 to go along with her 80 subscriber contest. And so yeah, I already did a hard and heavy 1980 video which showed, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 albums. So this time I'm going to keep it to 6 non-hard rock, heavy metal albums. Just, I don't know, rock and roll is what I'm going to basically show from that year. In that year I was actually in 8th grade, something like that, middle school, but I was already a huge rock and roller. I was I started off listening to music early, so by 1980 I was already a full-fledged rocker, buying records on my own, mowing lawns in the neighborhood so I could afford to buy records, and so some of these records were stuff that I grew up with. Matter of fact, all of these are, and I kept it down to 6. I cut off a bunch of stuff that I would have liked to include, but I'm going to get right to it. First album I'm going to show is Cheap Trick, All Shook Up. Now this one might be cheating a little bit. This might have fit into a hard and heavy album because this is a brilliant album by Cheap Trick. One of their more provocative albums. Very, I'm not going to say progressive, but definitely one of their more musically technical albums. And it features producer George Martin. And despite the fact that it's such a great record, it wasn't very popular. And I don't understand why, because it's just a fabulous record. It features songs like, and I got the CD sitting here too, features songs like Stop This Game, and one of my favorites on here, Just Got Back. Just has a total funk groove to it that's just infectious. I just got back, I've been gone too long, it wasn't my idea to pull the trigger, oh, oh, oh. So there you have it. Cheap Trick, All Shook Up, produced by George Martin. The band was on fire. Every song on here is on top of the, just great classic stuff from them. Released that same year was the this 10-inch single, or 10-inch EP, I don't know what you want to call it, Found All Parts, which featured some from live tracks, and it also featured a 7-inch single, which came inside of the 10-inch for a song called Everything Works Out. And if you look at the very front of the 10-inch, there's a sticker on it that says, features the free Smash bonus hit single Everything Works. I don't know if it was a Smash, I don't think it actually was, but it's basically a promotional 7-inch single and epic sleeve for Everything Works If You Let It. And it goes right along with those songs on All Shook Up. Classic Cheap Trick, rock and roll, kind of takes the bebop and rock and roll of the 50s and 60s and brought it up to 1980. Great stuff, and like I said, this 10-inch single was equally worthy of picking up. If you grab the CD version, it has not only the full album on it, but it also has the Found All Parts 10-inch and the 7-inch single as well. So well worth picking up the remastered CD version too, if you don't want to pick up both vinyls and the single. Number 5. That was number 6. Number 5. I had a hard time picking between this one. Yes released 2 albums that year, and there was Drama, and there was YESSHOWS. I went with YESSHOWS simply because it's an awesome live album. It was their second live album. The first one was a triple live album. This one was a double. Features fantastic artwork, as you saw. I'm taking out the sleeve here. And most Yes albums have really great artwork, but it was a gatefold. And keep wanting to say the artwork's by Rodney Matthews, and I know that's wrong. The artwork is by Roger Dean, of course. So this is a 1979 painting by Roger Dean. And here's the gatefold, some live shots of the band. And this features some stuff from Tormato, and Going for the One, and some of the less popular 70s Yes albums, but frankly, those were the albums where I discovered Yes, especially Tormato. I think Tormato's an awesome album. I'm not sure why it's not more popular, but yeah, this is just a double record on, I believe it was on Atlantic Records, so just your standard Atlantic sleeve, but great live album, great sound, features some lengthy songs. Gates of Delirium takes up the entire length of side 2, and Ritual takes up 3/4 of side 3, and then part of side 4 as well. Also features the shorter songs, What Are Stories, and Don't Kill the Whale, which is a great song off of Tormato. Time and Award is also on here, and Parallels. So 1980 live album from Progressive Rock Masters. Yes. All right. Number 4. Completely way off the charts from the first two I showed. Not hard rock, not progressive rock, but I'm going to call this new wave. This is Gary Numan, TELEKON. The song Cars off of the album that came, I can't remember if it came after this one or before it now. I think it came after this one. But Cars was hugely popular, and that was the song that drug me in. And when I was a kid, you know, I looked for Gary Numan records, and I didn't find Pleasure Principle, which had Cars on it first. I found this one first, and I can't remember where I found it or how much I paid for it, but it wasn't much, and I snagged it up, brought this home. And when you're a kid, you know, and you only have a handful of records, you play them over and over and over and over again. And that's the case with this one. I played this album continuously, and when I sold all my entire record collection in 1990, I didn't buy this back for many years, and then all of a sudden I just got this, you know, desire to hear it again. Popped it up on YouTube or whatever it was at the time I was listening to, and heard a couple songs. Said, man, I got to find that again, and I bought it again, and it's still a favorite of mine. Gary Numan is his own sound. This is a little poppy, but dark pop, not like, I don't know, I don't know how to explain it. Gary Numan has his own sound. You know, kind of electronic, was state of the art at the time. Classic album. Not sure what else to say about it. Gary Numan, TELEKON, number 4. Number 3, solo album from Philip Lynott. This is Solo and Soho, and Phil was still doing Thin Lizzy at the time this album came out, and this is very different from Thin Lizzy. Thin Lizzy was, you know, your 70s hard rock, heavy metal, dual guitar attacks. This was much more personal, more emotional, more melodic, more pop. But you had a song like Dear Miss Lonely Hearts, which was a ballad. King's Call, which is just a smooth, I'm going to say almost AOR style song. Other songs on here, Yellow Pearl. Great classic song, and I believe that might have been released as a single for this album too. Solo and Soho, Jamaica Rum. There really wasn't a bad. To a Black Man is on here as well. This is just a classic album from Philip Lynott. And like I said, it doesn't sound like Thin Lizzy, but it does sound like Phil Lynott. And this was the first of 2 solo albums he released, and I think the best of the 2. And number 2. Number 2 comes from an ex-Genesis member, Peter Gabriel, and this was his self-titled album number 3, affectionately known as Melt, due to the face melting. And this album is a frequent player today. You know, I play this album a lot. There's just not a bad song on it. It's funny, and then the song I don't remember on here. Every time someone asks me something and I can't remember what it is, the first thing that pops in my head is, I don't remember, I don't recall. I got no memory of anything at all. Yeah, anyhow. Classic song here. Intruder, Family Snapshot, Through the Wire, which kind of has that new wavy sound too, kind of like Gary Numan that I showed earlier. Games Without Frontiers, which was the hit single on this album. Not One of Us, Lead a Normal Life, and Biko. All very unique songs, very unique sound for 1980. No one really sounded like this. Little tidbit of information is Peter Gabriel, of course he played on this album. Phil Collins played drums on this album from Genesis, but when he played drums, he was asked to play without any cymbals. And this album helped, you know, Phil come up with that kind of cavernous, how they describe it, cavernous drum sound that he made popular on in Genesis, later Genesis albums, and on his solo albums. But it started here first. So yeah, this is, you know, Peter Gabriel, but Phil Collins played on this album as well. Like I said, one of my favorites. And also, I thought I'd just show, this is the, I'm not German, cannot speak German, but DEUTSCHES album, or Peter Gabriel, German album. It's the same album and sung in German. And really like the German version. I like both versions. I like the American version too. Obviously, this is the one that I listened to mostly as a kid. picked up this one many years later, but it's just interesting hearing, you know, the music or style of music and songs that you know really well, and the vocals and lyrics are completely different from what you're used to hearing, and in a different language that I can't understand. So it sounds a little bit foreign, but that's what makes it interesting. So Peter Gabriel 3. And my last up, number one. Genesis, Duke. I'm a huge Genesis fan. I love the 70s stuff. I love the Peter Gabriel era, the progressive stuff. I like, the stuff after he left with Phil Collins leading that was still progressive. Frankly, I think even though this has some of the poppier songs on it, it's still a very progressive album. A song like Behind the Lines is very progressive, especially for the 80s. Doesn't sound like the 70s stuff. Doesn't sound like Yes or Pink Floyd or Nectar or any of those bands that people are familiar with in the 70s, but it definitely has an 80s sound, but it's still progressive, it still rocks, has several hits on it. Turn It On Again was a huge hit. What else is on here? I'm trying to remember what the other big hit. Misunderstanding. There must be some misunderstanding. Yeah, I know, I can't sing. That's why I sang in a thrash band. So anyhow, classic album. A little story about this one. This would have been my first concert. Went to get tickets to this show to see them play at the Philadelphia Spectrum. Went with a friend who was older than me. We drove to a Ticketmaster, or Ticketron, or whatever they called it at the time, and stood in line all friggin' night to get tickets to see Genesis. And we were, I don't remember how many far back we were in line, 15, 20, something like that. By the time we got to our turn in line, tickets were sold out. Bummed. Stood in line all night long and didn't get tickets. Much different from how we do, how the tickets sell now online. You had to stand in line all night long. Bummed that I didn't get tickets for it. But still, it still remains one of my favorite live albums. And this too is a gatefold. Might as well show that real quick while I'm doing this. There's the gatefold. Lyrics and some artwork on the inside. And much like the a couple of the other albums I showed, this is on Atlantic, but it does have a custom sleeve, not the standard Atlantic sleeve. And I pulled this out without pulling out the. There we go. But the sleeve itself is just your custom, your classic Atlantic sleeve. Although I keep mine in one of those plastic, vinyl, whatever they are, sleeves that are supposed to keep them anti-static free and dust free. So there you go, Cat. Some of my favorite albums from 1980. All those albums were albums that I grew up with in my late years in mid school and early high school. So I hope you enjoyed the my entry into your contest. Those are my top 6 albums from 1980. Some albums that ruled my world when I was in 8th and 9th grade, and outside of the normal heavy metal stuff that I was into. But do check out that 1980 video as well. I'll put a link below to that if you guys want to look for that. But that's it for this edition. God bless and stay strong.